This is an example of an ugly city. It lacks any sort of cultural identity, and I can ask you right now, what country is this city in? And I am almost sure that you're probably gonna get it wrong. I'm not gonna give you the answer just yet because I'll mention it later in the video. In this video, I'll mention briefly on what makes a city ugly, but mainly I'll be focusing on the why. I'm not a fan of long intros, so let's get started. Okay, that loud music gave me a jump scare. Let's turn on some soft jazz, shall we? Ah, much better. Firstly, it's because these cities are designed to be dependent on cars. The cars are lined up as if they're waiting for the judgment day. Pollution and whiffs of dust are everywhere, like you're in a 1950s cowboy movie. Overall, the roads don't look very nice, and you would rather spend time inside looking at the ambience view of Sweden on your computer. So why are cities so unwalkable? Well, this is due to the grid city structure. The reason for this structure is to aid the population growth, which happens around the 19th to 20th century. For countries like the US and Canada, it is due to migration, and for other countries in South and Southeast Asia, it is due to healthcare improving, which means a lower child mortality, while it is still culturally normal to be pumping out babies like a gumball machine. Hence, these people need a place to live, and the city needs to be built fast. Unlike a spiral city, which needs meticulous planning due to its shape, the grid city structure is very easy to build. Just line up condos and houses into a grid. This brings me to my second point. When you just line up houses and condos, what we're actually doing is splitting out areas into regions, such as residential areas, work areas, and other areas. And because of this, during special time in the day, everyone needs to be somewhere. For example, in the morning, everyone needs to go to work. But people don't really live next to their workplace because of the sectioning out of areas. Everyone would just be on the road dealing with traffic, like very bad traffic. Secondly, the reason why some cities are so ugly is because the infrastructure is built to be populous. City designers need to cram in as much living space in a set area as much as possible with the lowest cost. But oftentimes, the living spaces are usually houses lined up, they look uniform and very bland. So why are these buildings still here? What about countries like Thailand and Malaysia where the population dropped? I live in Thailand and I can tell you there's so much abandoned buildings. So these populous buildings don't really need to be here anymore. Well, this is because the buildings are not modular architecture, which means they can be only used for one purpose. Especially with cities that have sectioning, like I mentioned before. For example, even if you're willing to pain yourself to try to renovate a condo into, say, a hotel, because of the sectioning of the city, all the tourists will be concentrated in one area of the city. So your condo, which is now a hotel, wouldn't really receive that much foot traffic. That is why most companies and people won't bother themselves to renovate abandoned buildings. Now that I mentioned too much uniformity in buildings, what about the lack of uniformity at all? This is common in big megacities in which none of the buildings are the same height, some of them are skinny, some of them are fat. It is like a concrete jungle. Heck, maybe that will be the only jungle that exists in the next 100 years. At the start of the video, I asked which city was shown on screen. Did you get it right? This just goes to show you that many cities around the world is indistinguishable from each other. Now, it's pretty obvious why tall buildings and concrete jungles exist. Firstly, there's just not enough laws to make sure that buildings aren't too tall or too wide to create this uniformity. Moreover, plain tall buildings is just more affordable to build. Functionality and affordability aside, why is there so much pressure for cities to look so futuristic? A lot of the times, these desires to be more futuristic stems from the hope to subvert negative stereotypes. For example, in the Middle East, for a while, it's known only for their gender inequality, war, and poverty. People from the outside only see this. But the country want us to see this. But time and time again, they build pretty flashy buildings even if they don't benefit society in any way. The Jeddah Tower was abandoned, the Neom project is not researched thoroughly and will most likely fail. Don't even get me started on the stupid man-made island. The financial risk it takes to build these flashy buildings and infrastructure versus the societal benefits is just not adding up. Trees give us oxygen, but the government would rather have another Walmart. I don't know. Personally, I'd rather save the trees. So why do cities do not have green spaces? It's because they don't generate any sort of profit, unlike a mall or a Walmart. There's really no way to capitalize off a park or trees on the sidewalk. Hence, trees are not very prioritized in cities. Another reason is that it's damn hard to keep a tree alive, especially in a city. You see, many cities are growing trees wrong. Most tree that you see on the side of the road is pretty small and gangly. And that is because trees are just chucked inside a hole with dirt. This is incredibly ineffective because the roots of a tree need to find nutrients in the soil. And with that little volume of soil, there's not that much nutrients to find. The hole also restricts the root from growing bigger, which means the tree can't grow any stronger. So how do we solve this problem? The soil should be arranged in just one long line. There can be breaks on top, but there should be holes in between the breaks that allow the water to flow through, and the breaks should also be removable when the tree roots grow bigger. So yeah, that about sums it up on why some cities are so ugly. Thank you so much for watching this video. You can hit that like button and subscribe if you feel like this video is helpful to you.